welcome to the Singing Laundromat. We are not responsible for that.
And if you talk normally?
And if I talk normally, is that about right?
Keep going.
If I talk normally, is that about right?
That's
or if I continue to do the entire broadcast in the lovable little old Monokuma voice.
If you wish to. Welcome to the Singing Laundromat. We are not responsible for that. And if I talk normally, we're about the same rate. Yep. That sounds good. That looks good. Second sound check of the day.
I know.
Okay. I've got to summarise this one.
You do.
Don't you fucking dare.
Time to poop, Father. No, I'm good. Maybe less pooping. Poop in the bathroom instead.
No. Hello and welcome to Things Are Getting Strange, a Garth Marenghi's Dark Place Rewatch podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kim.
And I have some news.
Oh.
I have different bits of news anyway.
Okay, which one's this about?
This is X-Files related primarily, or X-Files tangential.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one of these is one of those whole, what, really? So, David Duchovny was on Radio Wales last week.
As you do.
As you do. And they asked him, as they often do, when Welsh and X-Files comes along, there's an overlap there. Which would be, you look at me quizzically, but catatonia.
Okay.
Are Welsh.
Yeah.
And so they asked him, have you ever heard Mulder and Scully? And he said, no, but I've heard of it. A little bit later, he's actually listened to it.
Okay.
He's now heard Mulder and Scully. He said it's catchy and he likes it.
Oh, that's good. It is catchy.
Yep, so I thought that was funny.
It is where we got the name of this channel from, after all.
It is. The second one is about Vince Gilligan.
Okay.
And this one was kind of a whole wild one of, it's in conjunction with Pluribus, his new series.
Yes.
And also kind of touches on Breaking Bad, but does come back to the X-Files. And it's basically, he doesn't like to engage with test audience screenings.
Okay.
Because of The Lone Gunman.
Okay.
Because apparently he hated the experience of doing the audience participation. Aye! Ah!
What? She missed it.
No, she just pooped. Screw you!
Hi, Shirley. I don't want to screw you, for the record.
No, I don't want to screw her either, but I'd like her to stop whinging at me. Yeah. Right. Yes, he was put off test screenings because of The Lone Gunman, which he says he still has a soft... He says he was very proud of it, but he's still got a soft spot for it, so I don't think he's proud of it anymore.
Okay.
He still likes it. But apparently he hated the experience so much that he refused to engage with it ever again. Because apparently, for The Lone Gunman, the worst part was when the audience was asked if they found it funny. One looked at the two-way mirror, which Gilligan was standing behind, and said, well, it's no Will and Grace.
Fair enough. It's a bit like comparing apples and oranges, though.
It is a little. It's like, yeah, okay, but that first episode of Lone Gunman is funny. And I think it's meant to be. It's obviously meant to be, but it's not meant to be like Will and Grace.
No, it's not laugh track funny.
No, it's a different kind of funny. But yeah, so I'll just check if I've got anything else. But I think that was my news bits for the week. Unless you have anything.
No, this week I've got nothing. Garth Marenghi has been continuing to add clips from his live shows to his YouTube channel, though. So
yes.
If you do want to see clips from the stage shows, which were like his book circuit for his 3 novels, do head over to the Dreamweavers YouTube channel and you can just watch selected clips. He is very, very funny.
I think the Randy Man's actually from the Incarcerate one, which we never got to see live, at least.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure that's the second book.
Was that the second part of it? Was that part of Incarcerate?
I think it
remember
was.
now, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure Randy Man was, because the first one was... Because the first one was
The
Typeface.
first one had Typeface, the Hellraiser parody.
And then it had the one where it was about the hard-boiled detective who was Nick Steen showed up as a character in that one because it was about the detective, and turned out he was a fictional character.
And there was the one that was a bit Phantom of the Opera where Roz got kidnapped.
Yes, the bone something or other.
No, that's in the new one.
Was that the new one?
No, there's the one.
Oh no, it was another bone one, but they sort
There's one where he's kidnapped essentially by a necromancer.
Yeah, they've her ankles or something stupid, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, he's got to think about bones.
I must admit, I can't remember what the 3 hour cast are at. There is the one with his daughter.
Yes, there's also there's the one at the start though where he's taken to a hospital or something and he's got psychic powers, and that's where Incarcerate comes from.
There's one where he's in a coma for the entire thing.
Yeah, it might be that one.
And it's a bit like the research facility from Stranger Things.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, those ones. But yeah, I think that's our Garth Marenghi news.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have try and... this is going to be a headache, isn't it? So, well, actually, no, I'll do the usual preamble first.
Just biding your time. You've got to summarise it at some point.
It's true. Okay, so our episode today is Scotch Mist, first broadcast on the 26th of February 2004. The guest star from this one is an oddity.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it is an oddity. Okay, so the guest star is Paul King. I couldn't tell you who he is because nothing seems to tell me who he is. I'm guessing he's one of the Scottish warriors, or he's the guy who's going to have sex on the moors and then gets killed.
Yeah.
One of those two. He's not best known as an actor. He's best known as a director.
Okay.
So he has directed, stop me if this sounds familiar, Paddington, Paddington 2, Paddington Goes to Peru, The Mighty Boosh, all of it, Wonka.
I'm just amazed they gave him Paddington after the Mighty Boosh.
Well, I know, right? But yeah, he's basically just those Venn diagrams of the Mighty Boosh and Dark Place and everything. Paddington is a whole other circle that fits into it.
Mrs. Brown, there appears to be a crack box outside.
It's entirely plausible. But it's like, he didn't direct the pilot of the Mighty Boosh, but he directed the main series. It's just... I don't know what... These people are just... I just don't have the words. It keeps circling endlessly around these 5 or 6 people?
Welcome to British comedy, I think.
I don't know why it's not just British comedy in general, though. It's very much a post-2000s thing, because this lot have only been going since then. Because, like, in the 80s and 90s, you did not get anything like this happening. Admittedly, you had Chris Barry in a lot of BBC comedies.
I think it was Chris Barry in a lot of British comedies, and every other comedy being written by a member of Monty Python.
Yes.
Was the previous state of things.
Yes, and then the odd episode of Last of the Summer Wine, which he did like 1 or 2 episodes a year for that or something.
Yeah.
It was because that was how we were gone for so long. Is because he was one guy writing it, and he wrote it like 1 or 2 episodes a year. But you only ever saw the one episode of them making a fly machine out of a bath.
Yes, I've seen that one.
That's all anyone has ever seen of Last of the Summer Wine. Not technically other episodes.
But you put it on like a lot of Brit comedies like that. It's think of Only Fools and Horses, and the second you say it, someone says, "Oh, the chandeliers."
Yeah. Or, well, actually, that's the old one, though, because the newer one is the Batman and Robin costume.
The Batman and Robin
that then
costume.
became the big thing, and then the wealth.
Peckham Springs as
Yeah.
well.
But
But that's still like 4 episodes of it
Yeah.
people remember.
But then the one with actually, they became millionaires
Yeah.
briefly, and then they kept on making episodes, and econ that one back
I'm
again.
pretty sure they had like a special where they went to Florida, but beyond that, I'd struggle to name a single episode.
Miami, because it's called Miami. It's Miami Twice.
Yes.
As a spoof on.
Which would be Florida.
Oh, okay, so it would be Florida. Okay. I don't know. It's like I don't know where Morocco is in the Aberdeen.
Do you need me to point to it on a map?
No, I know where it is now.
Oh, good.
I didn't at the time. That might make more sense when you play. Anyway.
You have other skills. Geography's not needed.
No. Scotch Mist.
Can you point to Scotland on a map?
Yes. Look, there's a TV series called The Adam and Joe Show.
Okay.
Who were late night Channel 4 one, because this, in the 90s, late night Channel 4 was when you got the weird stuff.
Yeah.
You got the weird American TV series and you got the weird British series. This was Adam Buxton, who you might know from things like Hot Fuzz. He's a guy who the church steeple fell onto.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That
Yeah,
guy. And his friend, Joe Cornish, who directed Attack the Block, of all things.
Okay, good film.
Yep. But these two used to do a thing called the Adam and Joe Show. Adam and Joe, it was. And they used to do spoof recreations of films with, like, stuffed toys or their collection of Star Wars toys.
So a bit like Sweding it.
A bit like Sweding it, but way before that concept ever existed, because this was like 90s.
Okay.
So it's before Be Kind Rewind would even existed. And where the hell was I going with this point? Scotland. They had a few skits where they would go out and talk to members of the public. And one thing they did was they found American tourists and asked them to draw England. And the shapes they came up with. Oh boy. Anyway, Scotch Mist. There's a lot of mist around Dark Place. And while the hospital staff theoretically go about their business as normal, though Garth is playing saxophone on the roof for some reason, which is next door to the staff room, we find out, which is geographically weird. A patient decides to sneak out into the mist with a nurse to make love, and they are then killed by something off screen. Rick drives to work as usual, despite being at work, and comes to the crime scene where they discover the two dead bodies of the nurse and the patient, who have their faces are tartan, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, this is very important. And there's a pile of porridge oats beside them. And Garth thinks he has an idea of what's going on. Thornton Reed has somehow had his number put out as a massage parlour service, which is causing him consternation, and demands that Rick solve the situation with the strange attacks on the patients. Douglas, Liz, and Lucian go out into the mist to. Are they looking for people? I can't remember why they go outside.
I think they're looking for the murderer.
They're looking for the murderer. So they go out into the mist with bright headbands and fans. No, Liz gets a psychic premonition of the other attendant who's being attacked out in the murk.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
And that's where they got to rescue him. So they find him and rush him over to a shed and hole up there. And the attendant hasn't actually been killed. And at some point, Garth confesses that one time he went to Scotland and had a very bad time and insulted some people there. And they make a break for it as the mist clears to get back to the main hospital. And they hear one of a phone message sent for Thornton Reed's massage parlour, and Rick gets them to play it backwards. And playing it backwards, they can hear that someone is saying Douglas. And he takes it upon himself to resolve the situation. Thornton Reed gives him a paper bag containing something that may help. And Douglas goes off into the mist and encounters 3 Scotch warriors after being attacked by a set of bagpipes.
Yes, you missed that bit.
I missed that out. Oh, that's before he went into it. But it destroys his trousers and gives him red hair. He goes out into the mist to confront the 3 Scotch warriors, and he approaches them respectfully, and just as they're about to attack and kill him, he passes them over the paper bag, which turns out to contain shortbread. The Scotch warriors seem to forgive him for all his transgressions and give him a set of bagpipes before vanishing off into the mist from whence they came. Douglas asks Bud about the hair, and they say that it will grow out eventually. Everything is wrapped up nicely, with a heavy inference that it is Douglas and Sanchez who have given out Reed's phone number, and Rick performs a bagpipe solo on the roof. Did I get everything now?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. What the hell is going on in Dark Place anymore?
Actually really enjoyed it.
Oh, I like sort of. I mean, the thing I'd forgotten about was that, not content with just ripping off the fog, we decided to rip off Halloween as well, but not understand why Halloween does what it does.
It's quite blatant. The opening kind of POV shot from apparently
nobody
walking into Dark Place to what sounds suspiciously like the Halloween theme, and not a melody hummed by Garth Marenghi or whatever it usually claims.
It's a melody's hummed by Garth Marenghi. But, I mean, it is basically the Halloween theme, and then it hits that saxophone solo, which is just so weird. And we've just got the inexplicable design of the sets, where, yes, the staff room is next to the external roof set.
So it's checking something.
Oh, okay. We also learn more about the Dark Place production, which is I always find is kind of one of the interesting bits, and that somehow this is being filmed in Dean Lerner's garage.
He's got a big garage.
He's got a big garage, and this was the most ambitious script, and for a production that has no money apparently.
It was also the most controversial, as he indicates at the start that this is the episode that got them axed.
Yes, although weirdly. They also basically infer that this is the week after the events of the first episode.
I just thought that was a weird anachronism, to be honest.
It could go either way, because we know it's well known that at least in like 80s and 90s that episode orders were usually completely out of sequence. And I wonder if that's meant to touch on that, or it's...
Or it could just be one of those problems, like we noted when we reviewed the X-Files, there were some times where things were filmed out of order.
Yes.
So it could just be one of those slip-ups because this was the second episode filmed, or something like that.
But I bet you it's in here for deliberately to sort of spark that kind of confusion as to whether this truly was the second episode they filmed or not. But yeah, it's not... I don't know if it's a surprise they got cancelled for this, but it's one of those... What is going on?
I like on the base level, Garth says at the very start that all episodes mean something, even if it's just that we shouldn't genetically modify crabs to be the size of humans. But at first, this episode kind of pens itself about it's a story about racism and acceptance, especially in that ending monologue he has about the mist of misrepresentation, or whatever it is.
Yes.
But it seems more that it's a story about not buying cheap batteries on the market.
Yes, that does seem to be the actual running theme of the episode.
They keep harking back to the fact that Douglas is a cheapskate and has bought these kind of dodgy, possibly stolen batteries in the marketplace, and not Energizer.
Or Duracell.
Yeah.
You do wonder if they're sort of being sponsored by a battery company or something.
But I like that being our takeaway message in our... You can't call it racist, kind of xenophobic episode.
Yeah, but I think also it's exaggerated to the point of nonsense. One thing that's kind of curious is the experience that he describes of going to the chip shop does exist as the later scene on the DVD.
Oh, does it?
There is footage of him going to this chip shop with like a fisheye lens effect on it or something.
So to recap, because it wasn't in your description. Yes. What happened was he had an emergency overnight stop when he was flying in Glasgow. He was forced to get off the plane and go into the city, which he describes as being basically a third world country while there, and had a bad experience when he ordered a cheeseburger at a chip shop and they served him something battered in a tissue.
Yeah.
At which point he was very insulting, particularly towards the weight of the staff, as an account for them battering everything. And that was his racist incident that incited the plot.
Yes. I do kind of like how the episode just doesn't bother to deal with the impetus of the episode of the mist has come to Dark Place. And they kind of spend a lot of time trying to question of, was it really Douglas or was it something else? And it's like, I'm pretty sure the events of the episode point that it's just him. But why it happens now, I don't understand.
Well, I think they even you said some pretty nasty things at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but then why do you attack the other people? What's the point? What patient has said, let's go and have sex outdoors? Oh, it's just some mist. This vast wilderness.
Fog or mist.
Fog or mist.
It's just some fog or mist.
Yeah. I also know, I don't think I've ever noticed before, but I noticed this time, is we've got this weird inconsistency between the Dark Place model and the backdrop of the rooftop set.
Yeah.
Because when you see the model, they're basically on a moor and there's nothing around them. But the rooftop set, there are buildings in the distance.
Well, they do say where it is. It's somewhere like Romford.
It's Romford. It's not notable for having moors.
It's more something you'd attribute to the middle of Yorkshire or something like that.
Yeah, like that famous film. There's about werewolf.
Oh,
Werewolves of London. But he wasn't attacked in London, which is the important part.
No, he was attacked on the Yorkshire Moors.
Exactly.
You also see the Yorkshire Moors in the likes of, if we're being a bit more classy, Wuthering Heights.
Yes.
It's vast, it's remote, people can get lost there quite easily.
You wonder why everyone thinks it's a romantic novel, given that the main couple are being really unpleasant to each other for 90% of the book.
Oh, I dislike it intensely. I studied that one in university. Don't like Wuthering Heights.
No, I mean, we'll go back to Dark Place in a minute, but I always remember there was a bit that everyone sort of sat up and just paid attention, and it's, I can't remember which phases, because if you've never actually read Wuthering Heights, one thing they never tell you is, it's not a straight story, it's the second person account of someone else. It's kind of like Heart of Darkness, but it's actually I think it's more complicatedly done in Heart of Darkness. Because Heart of Darkness is just the first person account of someone else's story.
Yeah.
Whereas Wuthering Heights does shift narrators, but it starts with someone who has nothing to do with anything. But the bit everyone sits up on is, I can't remember why, but someone's putting a knife between someone's teeth. And if you open with that, everyone goes, what the? I didn't think that was going Wuthering Heights. Yeah. And it is, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
No, it does not.
So...
Dark Place, then.
Dark Place. We'll get back to Dark Place. Yeah, I do appreciate, though, as the series goes on, is that the plots are just never making sense. Like, there's questions left over, but not questions in an enticing way. Questions as you forgot what the episode was about when you got to the end of it, didn't you?
Much like last time, where they had to summarise the entire episode in the last minute.
Well, they don't even bother with that this time.
No.
I mean, there's a possibility they're gluing it together with Liz at the computer, given that she's carefully framed so you can't see her lips when she's talking.
I also like the Liz at the computer shot just because you can hear the frantic typing, and when it shows her hand, she's got to do it with 2 fingers.
Well, it's because she's got such long nails she can't type. That was a good touch. And it's like the massive dot matrix printout and everything.
Yeah.
But we touched on it before, so we'll go back to the things that inspired the episodes. We'll leave the big one, so fixate on Halloween again briefly. I like, again, the idea that Garth Marenghi is familiar with everyone else's work. So he's watched Halloween. But again, didn't understand why it opened with that shot. I mean, you can even see it to the couple going out having sex on the moor is basically analogous to Michael's sister and her boyfriend in Halloween.
I thought it was more akin to Friday the 13th, to be honest.
It could be, I think it could be both, but it's sort of still, you've got a first-person view of a couple going off like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Michael just kills everyone, basically. It's Jason that's fixated on promiscuous teenagers and stuff.
It's true, but Halloween still kind of birthed it because that's what Michael's sister was doing just before he stabbed her.
Yeah, it's true.
So, but yeah, I think it's probably, there's a bit of Friday the 13th mixed into it as well.
But the shock of, if anyone listening hasn't seen the original Halloween, the John Carpenter one, you're wasting your lives and you should really go and see it because it's an absolute masterpiece. But the opening shot, to spoil it for you, is all a POV shot of someone making their way through a house and eventually stabbing a young woman. And then as the police rush in, it pans around to show you that it's a small child that's done the killing. You know, as they unmask this killer and it's just a little kid. Yes,
and we say very little about what Rob Zombie did to that, which is, whoa, wasn't like an hour of film before you even get to that point?
I choose to just pretend that the Rob Zombie one doesn't exist, to be honest.
I mean, that's fair. But it's still it's almost an hour, isn't it, or something, of build-up. Yes. It's a very long way in.
And it removes all the shock of, child Michael being a killer when you've had this lengthy kind of psychoanalysis of him showing that he's a sociopath up to that point.
Not fond of Mr. Zombie's output there.
No, I am not.
Don't mind some of his music, but not so much his film productions. Not that I've seen many of them. I don't think I want to either. But I mean, it's a point of connection that we never dwelled on before, though, which surely is that the John Carpenter aspect of Garth Marenghi, because we're going to sort of say he's an amalgam of so many horror things. The music has to be the John Carpenter section, given that if you don't know this, John Carpenter, at least up to a point, was renowned for doing his own soundtracks. It's like The Thing is one of the only ones he didn't do at all, I think. But generally, Halloween, Escape from New York, Assault on Precinct 13, Big Trouble in Little China. I think vampires. I can't remember. And then into the less well received ones. I think Ghost of Mars might have been one of his last ones, or I'm not sure. He does concerts now, apparently.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, he just actually does make new music, and he goes off and does that rather than directing films.
I think a lot of people consider... I think it's Big Trouble to be at the start of John Carpenter's downward spiral, which is ridiculous because it's a brilliant film.
Yes, I mean, I love Big Trouble in Little China, but I've had a lot of people have said it is the breaking point. It's the because I think it's an amazing film, but there is enough in it where you can sort of say, was that really the best idea what you did there? Could you have done that slightly differently?
It's raised interesting questions as well, because I saw an interview a while ago with James Hong, who plays the villain in Big Trouble in Little China. And he was approached and said, how does he feel now playing such a racist stereotype? And he still cites it as one of his favourite roles he ever played. Because it is tacky, it is very stereotypical, and it leans into it kind of knowingly. Which is also what we don't get in this episode of Dark Place here.
Yes.
When we have the extreme stereotyping of the Scottish people, or as Douglas continuously says, even at the end when he's supposed to no longer be racist, the Scotch.
Yes. Well, I think for Big Trouble, it's very much it's meant to be a loving homage, and I think it's the whole not really understanding how to do it delicately. But it's not meant to be exploitive or anything. They're trying to replicate Kung Fu Hong Kong films as best they can without really understanding.
But they're also leaning into the kind of tacky setting, because it's not actually set in China, it's set in Chinatown. Which, if you've ever been to a Chinatown, has that kind of look to it, that sort of tacky, commercialised, touristy look.
Yeah.
Which you even see in Big Trouble in the fact that Egg Chen, one of the main characters, does Chinatown tours for American tourists.
Exactly. You have made me think as well, though, is you've got the infamous, the low-budget examples, and understandably this is going to be really into our really obscure horror things, or martial arts things, because no one goes over this way, which is Ninja Terminator.
Oh, Ninja Terminator.
A film ostensibly about martial artists and everything, and ninjas, which leaves Japan in the first 10 minutes and relocates to LA for the rest of the film. And Ninja Terminator, it's not a fun film to watch, but after you've watched it, you remember all this spectacular weirdness, like the video of the person committing seppuku, who then walks out the scene, and the robot that delivers videotapes, which, whatever you're thinking of a robot delivering videotapes, you're wrong. You have not grasped how this looks on screen. You cannot see it coming. It's just incredible. Absolutely abysmal film. It's not worth watching. Don't watch it. But it makes me think, it's like that's the extreme point you could have fallen off to, and Big Trouble in China is not that.
You have a similar ideal, and it's knowingly done. There was a recent, deliberately low-budget horror movie called Velocipasta.
Yes.
That does a similar thing with ninjas in that. Going for this stereotypical, because we've got ninjas in this because they're cool sort of attitude. But of course, Velocipasta is deliberately trying to make a Z-list horror movie with no budget. Well, I think it knows exactly what it's doing again.
Well, I think you pointed out it's the inexplicable thing of they're ninjas, but the principal people are white English-speaking people or a Chinese guy.
Yeah. There are no Japanese people in these ninjas.
The kanji's wrong. The location's just doesn't look even remotely correct. The martial arts choreography is absolutely appalling.
But this is our Garth Marenghi level puzzle.
Yes.
But this is our Garth Marenghi level production.
Oh, yeah.
And again, much like Garth Marenghi, it's knowingly doing it bad.
Yeah.
To make it look bad.
Yes, I still feel it's that... I mean, I think Garth Marenghi actually has fallen foul of this, and it's the kind of thing that Spinal Tap could have. And it's one of these... You have to be in the right mindset to appreciate it. It's like the knowingly... deliberately bad film of that kind of thing, and if you're not prepared for that, you can write it off really easily.
Yeah.
If you don't understand that they know it's bad, it's meant to be bad, and they're making a point by doing it like this. But if you come to it not knowing that, you can just bounce off it and say, that was rubbish.
I also felt there was kind of a sense in there that we've talked about before. I think we last mentioned this when we were talking about Perihelion at the end of the X-Files. In there is this sort of way that... in the way that Garth Marenghi, as a Londoner, kind of sees the Scottish people, it's a bit like, as we've talked about before, Americans see English people.
Yes.
You've got this kind of extreme stereotype where Americans don't recognise the nuance of different English accents because what you have heard on TV is either Dick Van Dyke or the Queen.
Yes.
And there's no kind of shades of grey. There are no Northern English people on American TV. The only one I always think about is Daphne from Frasier.
Yes.
You otherwise very rarely hear like a Mancunian accent or something like that.
Well, I was going to say, we kind of have that a bit in this country. I mean, though we do have stuff set in Scotland, but I'm thinking like Byker Grove was like principally the thing growing up where you heard non-Southern accents. And that was about it, really.
Byker Grove was set in Newcastle.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not Scotland.
No, not Scotland, but it was a non-Southern accent is what I said.
Yeah, as opposed to most things which are set in and around London.
Yes, it was the weird overshoot. And it reminds me of the weird little bit of trivia of how Japan basically more or less eradicated accents. There are still ones to appreciate, like the Osaka Ben is very noticeable, but they aren't broken down many in other places, and a lot of it's apparently because of centralized television.
Okay.
Because everyone's got the same network of channels across the country, it's eroded the accents away because everyone talks the same. You have Okinawa and Osaka as the kind of outliers, but you don't get many other specific dialects going on anywhere.
No, that's true. Other than Kansai Ben, as you've said, you don't really hear the other ones. It's something in the UK that we've seen as well, because I know when I was in school, you used to study a poem called the 5 o'clock news. And the whole idea of the 5 o'clock news, the 5 o'clock news poem is written phonetically as if it's a Scottish person speaking, which does actually feed into what I'm about to say about Garth Marenghi as well. But the whole point is supposed to be that you never hear somebody reading the 5 o'clock news with that kind of voice. And the poem posits because you don't want to think of them as being like you scruffs.
Yes.
The reader of the 5 o'clock news will always speak like this, so it's no wonder that people outside of the UK believe that this is just the English accent.
Well, it's also Forwards and Funeral's fault as well, to a point.
Just Hugh Grant in general.
Well, there was the big cultural export though at the time, mid-90s, that's what everyone thought, and that sort of catapulted the perception of what British culture was like, even though they are all upper class, basically upper class twits, or they're very bordering on that.
They're certainly all from central London.
They're all probably they are university friends or something, aren't they? They probably went to Eton or something like that.
They all went to Eton, where everyone would speak like this and use the correct. I can't even keep it up.
No.
I don't talk proper, but yeah. It was once raised at work that I should say the word brill less.
No, you say brill all the time.
I do say brill all the time, yeah.
So the other influence on this one is not a hard one to pick up, which is of course another John Carpenter film.
Did you stop me from making my point?
Oh, I might have done.
Yes, you did.
Sorry, please go ahead. I didn't realise you stopped. I thought.
But
yeah.
Anyway, so actually feeding that back into Garth Marenghi, there is a point in this episode where it starts using subtitles, which is what we're feeding into the 5 o'clock news. It's the expectation that these people are speaking Scottish, basically a different language, even though they're speaking very, very clearly. It's not like some really, really remote, rough version of Scottish that might be hard to understand. Garth has kindly given us subtitles so you can be absolutely sure of what those Scottish people are very obviously saying.
I do wonder, though, you've just reminded me, I wonder if that's a nod to Trainspotting.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's one scene in Trainspotting which is set in a club, and it's actually quite hard to tell what they're saying, where they are subtitled for the length of this stay in a club. And I wonder if it's a nod to that.
You also kind of get it. You love a reference back to Frasier, but eventually in Frasier they introduced Daphne's brothers.
Well, I mean, I don't like them, but yeah, I see where you're going.
But one of them is Robbie Coltrane, who speaks with such a thick accent you can't tell what the hell he's saying.
Yes, it's true. Well, neither can the rest of the cast, I think. It's not like Chewbacca in Star Wars, where everyone can somehow understand what he means. Oh, you want to bring that up? Yeah. So I do wonder how much of that was conscious, or they were just going for the most stupid prejudice to have, like Austin Powers with the Dutch thing.
Yeah. But it's also Garth's personal prejudice, because he ends it saying something to the fact of English and Scottish relationships have gotten better. If an Englishman and a Scottish man meet, there's a 50% chance they'll get on.
Yeah.
That's the whole the English... Just so you're aware, we don't have a grudge against the Scottish. No. It's not actually a thing that's rooted in any sort of reality.
No, I don't, people can be a bit weird about Scottish people, but yeah, it's not that bad.
I think it goes more the other way, because the Scottish people have tried to break from UK politics so many times and been stopped, you find a lot of them, it's less a grudge against the English people, it's more a grudge against this politics that they don't want any part of and are kind of forced into.
Was I all for that? I mean, again, we saw like the whole J.K. Rowling wants them to stay, so it's going to be take the opposite stance to her. So we'll go for that.
Yeah. But yeah, I know I have some friends who live in Scotland who, whenever there is an election and once again they're kind of forced to remain, they bear a grudge about this, and it's completely understandable.
Well, yeah, it's like you've devolved the parliament. They're meant to be calling the shots of their own country, and you keep saying no to this or this, that, and the other. And it's like, you need to play fairly by this.
But yeah, from the Garth Marenghi perspective, we don't hate the Scottish.
We do not hate the Scottish. I mean, I even quite like the bit where Lucien Sanchez says, my aunt lives in Scotland. She's quite nice.
She's wrong, Sanch.
I do have to wonder as well, in the metafiction, is that an ad-lib by the actor or something? Because I was just uncomfortable where this is going.
I do think it's interesting, for the first time ever, Garth actually admits he's wrong.
Yes, it's an odd one. Sorry, you just reminded me of his car with all its buttons to speed up. It's just driving in the mist.
But anyway, do you want to get on what the actual thing we're ripping off this week is?
Yeah, well, it's another John Carpenter project, although obviously James Herbert must come into this somewhere as well, given that a similar idea. It is. Well, yeah, I would say it's an amalgam of bits and pieces.
It has the same title.
It has the same title. And also we can say there's a Stephen King novella that may have some bearing on this, even though it's very different. So we've got John Carpenter's The Fog, James Herbert's The Fog, and Stephen King's The Mist.
Yep. So to start with the first one, the 1980 movie The Fog, which I think is the one we're really ripping off.
Yes. Well, given that one involves ghost pirates who are coming for revenge, I think it's very much that's where it's coming from.
Yeah. So, to correspond, because it's probably less well known outside of the UK, and even within the UK these days, James Herbert's The Fog is, I believe it's a nerve agent.
Okay.
In that one. It's not actually ghosts in the fog. It's something a bit like the crazies that's affecting people and making them act irrationally. So you got the crazies, the Andromeda strain, that sort of feel to it more. So
okay.
It's been a long time since I've read it, but that's vaguely how I remember it. And The Mist is an absolute masterpiece, especially the film. It's got the bleakest ending, I think, of any film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the end of the novella is different, but still kind of bleak.
There's possible optimism. I mean, you say the end. The end of The Mist is bleak for the main character. For everyone else, it's pretty good.
Yeah, probably shouldn't spoil that one.
No.
It's an older film now, but The Mist is still well worth seeing. The special effects did look a bit ropey last time I saw it, but that's about the only criticism I can level for it.
Now, there's an interesting point about that, is that Frank Darabont, the director of The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile, incidentally, who has done a lot of horror and Stephen King adjacent stuff, is the one that directed it, and the film was meant to be in black and white, which would have helped the special effects immensely.
It certainly would. It would have looked way better in black and white.
I think certainly on some Blu-ray and DVD copies, you can get a version of the film which will play in black and white.
Oh, nice.
We might have that somewhere, I don't know, but that helps a lot with the dodginess of some special effects, because it wasn't done on a high budget, as you might imagine.
But The Mist, just to give you a brief summary, it's heavily implied it's a phenomenon caused by a kind of dimensional tear, which causes the city to fill with mist and huge kind of Lovecraftian monstrosities, insectoid creatures living within it. And it all focuses on a group of survivors who hold up in a convenience store. Yep.
There's shades of Dawn of the Dead in here, obviously. The Mist also went on to inspire a few notable games. So Half-Life is one of the obvious ones.
Oh, really?
Yes. Well, given you tear open a portal to another dimension at the start of Half-Life, and everything starts coming through. You don't get the mist, but you get that part of it.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
And you saw Michigan Report from Hell. It was intentionally inspired by the mist.
Okay.
That was the
what's his face?
Grimbeard.
Grimbeard did it, didn't he?
Yeah. The one where you sort of say, is this really a game?
If we're talking about fog, I guess you need to give a mention to Silent Hill as well.
Yes, which I think also took some cues from the mist and was generally inspired by it, because the mist, a lot more so than the fog, the mist inspires everything, doesn't it?
I don't think many people are inspired by
No.
it. It's a fun film.
It's a fun
It's after John Carpenter's heyday, admittedly, but The Fog is a perfectly good film.
But before Big Trouble, though, so this is it's the sliding scale, so you can see this. Because I think the last time I watched The Fog it's fun, but it is all over the place.
It's quite slow burn as well. You have to stick with The Fog.
And at some point you start to go, wait, why are the ghosts doing this? Or why they do... Some bits of it make sense, and some bits are going...
There's a reason.
There is. But then some of what the ghosts do, you sort of say, but why are you doing that? But no, so The Fog is a long-standing feud between ghost pirates from a few centuries back. I can't remember if there's no particular reason why it's this year. It's one of these whole... It just happens to be this year.
I can't remember why it's that year either, though it has been a while since I've seen it.
Well, because I can't remember, I'm going to say it's because Jamie Lee Curtis is in town. That's why it's happening.
Seems about right.
Because she's a hitchhiker, isn't she?
Yeah, one of the biggest scream queens of all time.
And Adrian Barbeau, who I obviously know from very strange jokes in other comedy series.
I'm thinking C-Lab.
Yeah, that's basically it. Adrian Barbeau, but yes. But basically, it's over successive nights, and the mist comes in, and with it comes skeletal or ghost pirates who are looking for the gold that a priest stole in the past, because it's walled up in the church, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
And people over the course of the film do slowly untangle that's what the ghosts are after. I can't remember how on earth anyone starts to figure this out, but they do. And then, of course, though, it's got this thing ending of they hand over the gold, everything seems to be happy, and then the ghosts come back and murder the priest. They murder someone at the close, don't they? Because it's meant to be, it's all big and dramatic. But it's the same kind of billowing smoke and the green lighting and everything that this has.
And essentially, they're a lot like the Pirates of the Caribbean villains, to be honest, coming in. That sort of zombie pirate sort of look to them.
Oh, definitely. And it's, as you said, though, it's a fun enough film. I think it's too long, or I remember it being...
It's slow. It's definitely slow.
It could have been cut down more than it was.
I think it's one of those concurrent night problems you have in horror sometimes, where you think if you just shave 2 nights out, you probably have a better flow. It just takes it too long to ramp up.
But at the same time, I can see you want the escalation of they're slowly getting worse and worse as time's wearing on.
And it's got that kind of Stephen King-esque feel to it because it's small town America and it's focusing on a large ensemble cast.
Yeah, isn't the mayor also implicated or something? Or it's his family is part of why this has gone wrong, and he wants nothing. Yeah, he or she wants nothing to do with it.
It's definitely got that feel of, I'm trying to think of the ensemble Stephen King ones, like Salem's Lot, where it's the little bits that come together because you slowly get to know individual people and see how they connect.
I'll take your word for that.
But again, it's the kind of thing that works better in a mini-series usually than a film because you just can't get that level of detail going in a film and keep the flow going.
Yes. Well, again, this is reminded me of that's the point everyone keeps making about it, of all things. Is no one seems to want to go and do an actual TV series of it.
I hear that the New It series, the Welcome to Derry one's quite good though.
Yeah, I heard that as well, but it's still not, if you've not adapted it into a TV series, you've just done...
Well, I think it was originally a 4-part serial though, the 90s it.
Yeah, although there were just big chunks of... that was done as 4 parts, but... Even knitted together, it still comes out as 2 films. Yeah. Because everyone does it the same way. So do all the kids stuff first, then do the adults.
It makes more sense than jumping between them, to be fair.
Yes. Because I've glanced at it and gone, why have you done this?
I don't recommend reading it, and it's a Stephen King men writing women problem, but there are a lot of awkward bits, particularly in his older ones, and particularly in it.
It is notorious these days for the scene that has.
But Stephen King is kind of bad for his descriptions of like young teen girls and things like that. It's something that hasn't aged very well, and I actually stopped reading Stephen King about 10 years back, so I'm not so sure if it's I'm not sure if it's persisted to present, but certainly the Stephen King of the 80s, it was very much there.
I mean, I'm guessing that when Carrie was a success, he thought, well, no one's called me out so far, I'll just keep on barreling down the same road.
Carrie has started a legacy of unrealistic school bullies going, I think.
Yeah. Isn't the excuse in Carrie, though, it's less they are normal bullies and more it's reality reacting to Carrie herself and her antecedent, who her father is, or who her father is implied to be.
That's a generous reading of Carrie.
Well, no, that was the one. That's my first one of how on earth you can excuse why they've gone from zero to psycho so fast.
Yeah. It's like no kids would go to this length
No.
for revenge.
But I mean, I imagine that's not Stephen King's intent. But if you want to read it in another way, it's like because she's a descendant of the Man in Black, reality does not like her existing.
Good old Randall Flagg causing problems throughout. But yeah, the vicinity to evil is something that's very major in Stephen King novels. You have it in It, with in particularly, I think they did put it in the new movie. You particularly see it in the murder of the gay person in It.
Yeah.
I think it starts the second movie.
Yes, that is.
But it's the idea that everyone in the town has become apathetic because of the monster that lurks underneath. And therefore, these things that shouldn't happen do happen.
Yeah, I think that's more in the new films. It was in the old TV version a bit, because there's a bit where Beverly sort of says she's being hassled by Henry and the neighbour just walks away from her.
Yeah.
And I think it's also when whoever the main kid is, I can't remember.
Bill?
Bill is kind of fretting over the photo album with Georgie's picture in it, and his parents are really just very blasé about just brushing everything away again.
Yeah.
And I suppose you did get that in the new film when he's got his stupid elaborate how the sewer systems work thing, which you go, Bill, go and run outside, please, stop doing this.
Touch grass.
Touch grass. But he's got that, and his father doesn't want to hear it at all. Like as a whole, you could go search here, which no one thought to look, kind of thing.
But you see it in other Stephen King too, because you've also got The Strand, with anybody in the sphere of Randall Flagg just becomes a maniac.
The
Stand.
Stand.
Sorry.
The Strand is somewhere in England.
Yes, sorry. The Stand. Yes, the one with the disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain Trips.
Captain Trips. That's the disease. I was trying to think of it in terms of the name of the monster in The Exorcist was popping into head there.
To link it back to earlier today, weirdly enough, one of the playtesters for LucasArts, who did a lot of playtesting, including Curse of Monkey Island, is Joe Captain Trips, and I forget her surname.
Okay.
That's her nickname for some reason. I don't understand why.
Why would you take Captain
I
Trips?
don't know. I'm guessing it must have some link to what her middle name actually is.
Yeah.
But one of the playtesters is Captain Trips.
Yeah, but it's the Stephen King kind of idea that evil is kind of infectious.
Yeah. Well, I think also in it as well, though, it's when you're outside the vicinity of it. It is also weird, though, because it's the whole... It also retains your memories, and if you leave, you lose the memories of being inside.
Yeah. But you even see it in Stephen King's less horror ones, like The Green Mile. There's a whole sequence where John Coffey sucks the evil out of something and breathes it into someone else.
Yes.
So you still have that idea of the infectiousness of evil.
That's true. It reminded me of the Guardian writer who had a theory that Cujo was a metaphor for Stephen King's addictions coming to roost, kind of thing.
I think King's pretty much said that himself.
It is, but I don't know if this was before he said it or anything, but he said it was interesting that it's a bat bite that causes Cujo to get rabies.
Yes.
And the bat is linking back to Salem's Lot being the success after Carrie. So like when he started to really sort of ramp up his career and everything. And that was their theory.
It works on a less metaphorical scale of all the Stephen King books are connected.
Yes.
For example, in Pet Sematary, there is a bit where they pass by the turn-off to Jerusalem's Lot and have a bad feeling about it. There's always a little nod to another story in there to connect his world together.
Yeah. Although it's not the worth dwelling on here. We've veered off course again, as usual. But
always talking about Mr. King.
Well, it's hard not to in horror, though, because he does, as one of the living people, he's the biggest one who's still around.
True, yes.
Because, like, Barker doesn't really do it anymore. James Herbert I don't know if he's still alive.
I don't believe he is, but I'm certainly going to Google it now. I certainly haven't heard James Herbert doing anything for a while.
We know Kuntz is still alive because we looked up the other week, but he's really old and hasn't seemingly written anything for a while.
James Herbert passed away in 2013.
Okay, so he's passed away. And it's like, there was always newer horror writers coming up, but no one has King as kind of grandstanding
while King is still
visibility.
alive, no one is going to knock him off.
And
even his son.
But then it's like all the other people you think of immediately when you say horror writer are been dead for ages. Because that's Poe and Lovecraft. Block, maybe, if you want to go for slightly more obscure.
Derleth.
Derleth is always one of those holes. you successfully got Lovecraft to survive into the 20th century or the 21st century. You did some really strange things to the mythos, dude.
Yeah, but he's the reason that the mythos
He
is
is.
persistent.
Oh, I know. I think it was someone pointed out that his thing about Cthulhu being a water, having water as his element, sounds fine until someone pointed out, so why can't he communicate with anyone when he's under the water?
Okay.
Why would water block him if he's a water elemental?
True, yeah. Okay, I raise you Chambers then.
No, I wasn't saying Deleth isn't a big person, but Chambers... Oh, this is
the
King Yellow, yes.
And the King in Yellow has persisted. I mean, there was even, I forget which crime series it was. But
True Detective.
True Detectives had a whole plot line about the King.
I know, I still want to watch it just because of that, and though I think they veer off really, really close to the end from actually doing it.
It's not just the King in Yellow itself, it's the concept of the novel you can't read. It's a horror trope that really has persisted to this day, which is all got its roots in the King in Yellow.
Yes, and now I'll give you a video game thing that you might be interested in because of that.
Okay, so it's another one to add to the list.
Signalis.
I've heard of Signalis.
Signalis does make use of the King in Yellow for various things. It is very Resident Evil and Silent Hill inspired.
Okay.
It is also very reality mangling. I've played it. It's quite an experience.
Should I add this to my stream list?
You should. You're going to swear a lot, and it's not necessarily going to be easy, but yes, it's worth having a look at. Yep. So Signalis also touches on the King in Yellow because it's a prominent book in that game. Along with the Isle of the Dead painting.
Oh, yes, I know that one. I've got it in Animal Crossing. But yes.
Yeah. And it's also, there's a weird thing where there are multiple versions of that painting by the same author.
Okay.
There's also one by Giga, but that doesn't really make any bearing on this.
So, how are we cycling this back to Garthmarenghi?
I don't know, let's go back to the fog. Other than, again, I hope that the intent was basically they do take these bits from other horror creators and films and everything, and it's never deep. It's always very surface level stuff. Like the fog is, there are things in the fog that are coming to pursue something. Or we've taken the POV shot from Halloween and just put it in the start of our episode. And I'd forgotten as well that this episode has the most blatant... Garthmarenghi wants to write a police procedural, but doesn't understand he wants to write a police procedural.
Oh, the bit where they're called to the crime scene.
Yeah, and it's just everything about it is this is a crime scene investigation. This isn't what doctors do ever.
It's even if you look at the sort of investigative medicine things like House.
Yeah, no one does this. The doctors stay in the hospital or possibly or at house. They will break into people's house to look at the environment, but that's it. They don't go to the crime scenes.
I think the only place you'd really get a doctor in a procedure like this would be the mortician.
Yes. And then you're touching on the X-Files, because that was what Scully did. Forensic pathologist, if you want to go for that one.
Well, you always have them in the likes of CSI, don't you? There's always, I don't know the names of any actors in CSI, but there's always like one mortician on the team who's always in the office and they just bring the body to him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, touching on the X-Files, to go back to our very familiar area, is one of the weird factors in the X-Files is that Mulder and Scully will show up to crime scenes, but that's because the FBI is the national police force rather than the states-based police force. Yes. So that's them going to a crime scene actually does make sense for them. And why is Dark Place a hospital drama, allegedly?
In which we very rarely see them do any medicine.
I'm wondering, is it because... it's a shame that the commentary on Dark Place is actually in character, because it'd be interesting to hear Matthew Holness actually talk about this frankly. It's like, is it set in a hospital purely to have the child patients tell Garthmarenghi what a great job he's doing? And that's it. That's why they're in a hospital, and none of the rest of it actually matters.
I guess it's if you think of it in the lines of any hospital drama you've ever seen, they will always focus on the patients.
Yes.
Which is not what we see in Dark Place. It's always focused on Rick Douglas and his tremendous ego. Yes.
Well, again, it's the house format, though, is you have the case of the week, or occasionally you have multiple cases in the week, but it's usually it's the guest star becomes center stage because everyone else has to orbit around them to solve the issue.
Well, like, look at the structure of a House episode is you'll always have the opening sting, which will have none of the regular characters in it.
Yep.
It will be somebody she's a concert pianist, she's on stage, suddenly she has a colossal heart attack, that sort of drama. And the main characters don't come in until this person's kind of wheeled into the hospital.
Because that's what they do as doctors. They're in the hospital. They don't go into the field much. And Garth doesn't understand this at all. Which I will admit is actually a hilarious problem with this 80s TV series.
Yeah.
And Dean Lerner continues to not make any sense as a character. It's like, why is he here?
I think it's possibly the least we have of Dean in this one as well, because he's mainly our comedy sting with this massage parlour.
Yeah, it's a really weird old joke as well, though, because I don't think... Well, I suppose it's because these days you've got too much modern technology, because call blocking is much easier than it would have been in the 80s.
Yeah, true.
And I don't think you get crank phone calls in the same way, as I'd hope you don't, or you can just block the number much easier than you used to be able to do.
I don't know, it's not ever something I've really experienced.
No, it used to be like... the only thing that's springing to mind is Carolyn and City, of all things. Because there's a thing where she gets phone calls periodically from a creepy guy or something.
Well, interestingly, when I was a child, we did have it for a while. We had someone who would call our house and just breathe heavily. And you would never speak it. You say, hello, hello, and you just hear the horror movie breathing on the other end. And of course, because we had no self-preservation, we'd just always hang up on this person. And, after about half a dozen calls in a few months, they just stopped. So evidently we weren't giving the correct response.
No.
Our mouth breather got bored.
But yeah, it's a weird thing that doesn't seem to happen anymore. Maybe it does, and we're just not experiencing it. But I think
a lot of houses don't even have a landline anymore.
Yeah, and with mobiles, if someone keeps calling, you would block the number if they're just going to keep ringing up and just be silent at you.
Yeah.
Because why would you otherwise? So we talked a lot about Stephen King. Do you remember? Well, again, this was the whole point of the podcast, wasn't? Because Dark Place is more, it's a joke and you don't explain the joke. It's using it to bounce off into the other horror things that obviously surround it.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else for this one, or?
I think I'm pretty good. I've talked about some of my favourite films today.
Yes. A lot of John Carpenter. I mean, next time is the Lovecraft episode. Because it's the creeping fungus from the shores of Yuggoth or Shuggoth or something. Yuggoth. It's Yuggoth. And I can only vaguely remember the episode, but I'm going to bet that Garth doesn't know what Lovecraft is either.
I seem to remember the next episode has a bit of the invasion of the body snatchers as well.
I think we said this before, and I sort of argued it's more the Quatermass experiment.
Yeah, it could be the Quatermass experiment. I can see that as well, but again, the Quatermass experiment is very inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes. And then everyone else in the world has ripped off Quatermass. I mean, next time I think we can talk about Quatermass, because we haven't brought him up yet much.
That'll be a good one. We haven't really spoken about Quatermass, and it is another horror staple.
And a less well-known one, though, because people... It's as much as Quatermass is influential, it's not an obvious thing for people to point to.
I think it's kind of one of those things that I'm sure we'll get into it next time, but you don't think of Quatermass in the Pit, you think of the Tommyknockers, for example.
Yes.
The things that were inspired by Quatermass.
And you don't think of with Quatermass 2, that's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Oh, Quatermass Experiment, Species 2, sadly, is what will come up more often.
And Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man, yes. Or Spider-Man 3, specifically.
Yeah.
Whichever one, the Sam Raimi one with Venom, which was... Yeah, that mess.
Yeah, we can talk about that next time.
Do we have to? I don't like that one. Anyway, if you'd like to get hold of us, our email address is thingsagainstrange42@gmail.com.
You can also find us on social media and hit me up if you have any news concerning our spheres of interest, which are currently The X-Files, Twin Peaks and Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. You can find us on Blue Sky and Tumblr at GetStrange42 and on Facebook by searching for Things Are Getting Strange and X-Files Rewatch Podcast. Additionally, if you're not sick of my voice right now, I do stream live on Twitch TV Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 PM GMT and Saturdays at 5 PM GMT under the name AdverseCamber42, as well as some other random times as and when I have a chance to do so. At the moment I'm playing 3 different games. It's Yakuza 6 Song of Life and Digimon Story Hacker's Memory. Oh no, that's not the name of the game. At the moment I'm playing 3 different games. It's Yakuza 6 The Song of Life and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, both on PlayStation 4, and The Secret of Monkey Island on PC.
Our theme music is Envisioned by Kevin MacLeod. You can find it on Compotech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. I don't know either.
Is there a quote for this one? Let's get the script up.
I don't think doing dodgy Scottish accents is a good idea.
Behaved with dignity and honour, whatever they say.
I think that was basically it.
Quotes. I know that mon means man, but I don't think och means anything.
Yeah.
If I want to start a sentence with a full stop, I will.
Yeah, okay then.
I know that one.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, please remember, if I want to start a sentence with a full stop, I will.